Now among those who went up to worship at the festival were some Greeks. They came to Philip, who was from Bethsaida in Galilee, and asked him, "Sir, we would like to see Jesus." Philip went and told Andrew. Then Andrew and Philip went and told Jesus. Jesus answered them, "The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified. Very truly I tell you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains just a single grain. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. Those who love their life will lose it. And those who hate their life in this world will keep it for eternal life. Whoever serves me must follow me. And where I am, there will my servant be also. Whoever serves me, the Father will honor. Now my soul is troubled. And what should I say? Father, save me from this hour? No, it is for this reason that I have come to this hour. Father, glorify your name." Then a voice came from heaven, "I have glorified it, and will glorify it again." The crowd standing there heard it and said that it was thunder. Others said, "An angel has spoken to him." Jesus answered, "This voice has come for your sake, not for mine. Now is the judgment of this world. Now the ruler of this world will be driven out. And I, when I am lifted up from the earth, will draw all people to myself." He said this to indicate the kind of death that he was to die. The crowd answered him, "We have heard from the law that the Messiah remains forever. How can you say that the Son of Man must be lifted up? Who is this Son of Man?" Jesus said to them, "The light is with you for a little longer. Walk while you have the light, so that the darkness may not overtake you. If you walk in the darkness, you do not know where you are going. While you have the light, believe in the light, so that you may become children of light." After Jesus said this, he departed and hid from them. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Brothers and sisters, we have just heard from a chapter that is full of the scent of death. Religious authorities are plotting against Lazarus in this chapter, and Judas is plotting against Jesus. Meanwhile, Jesus' friend Mary has anointed him with expensive perfume that fills the whole house, and Jesus remarks ominously that the point of her good deed is to keep his death from smelling like death. Jesus' death is in the air, and the evangelist uses one of his hallmark techniques to let us know. All through this gospel, like the beating of a drum, we hear that Jesus' hour had not yet come. His hour had not come. My hour has not come. And now in verse 23, the clock strikes 12. We hear it on Jesus' own lips. The hour has come for the Son of Man, he says. Remarkably, the way he puts it is that the hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified. And we wonder how this can be. We aren't used to finding glory in the death of our champions, My former pastor, John Timmer, used to remark on this. Only an evil heart gloried in the assassination of Yitzhak Rabin. Only racist hearts gloried in the death of Martin Luther King. The men and women who loved Jesus would see him die on a torture instrument that the Romans had adapted to terrorize their enemies. These men and women would see the Romans take Jesus' life, and before that they would see them take his dignity in a public spectacle that was meant to intimidate anybody with an eye to see or an ear to hear or a heart to tremble at state-sponsored terrorism. The Romans jammed their crosses into the earth like scarecrows, and every one of them said to the world, "Caesar is Lord. Don't you mess with Caesar." The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified, says Jesus. And we can imagine the puzzled looks on the faces of Philip and Andrew and those innocent Greeks who had come to see Jesus. Maybe they'd come to see Jesus do a sign, a miracle, and instead they find a man who talks in riddles about the great advantage of hating your own life. A man who answers questions they're not asking. And so we don't know exactly what Jesus means all the time. And no doubt they didn't either. And so, like a third grade teacher, Jesus uses a very simple figure. He stops to explain how there might be glory where we find only grief. Unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains only a single grain. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. Jesus was talking about a simple fact of agriculture that everyone in those parts understood. A grain of wheat has to die, so to speak, and fall into the earth. It has to be buried in God's good earth, else you don't get a harvest. You don't get amber waves of grain without some dying and rising.